few days ago a friend visited, and he let me know he knew this guy that many years ago adopted a snake. Years passed by and he isn't able to home it anymore. He's going to move away, so he was giving it away for free. And when I heard this, I was very interested. So basically this is the story of how did I turn Donatella's enclosure from this to this. I actually had to do this in a hurry because I received Donatella, a ball python, just a few days before Omiteto, la music festival near Mexico City, and yeah, I had to start as soon as possible. So to start with, I had to scrape all the pee. This snake had been in this terrarium for years. I don't know if it had been cleaned. After I vacuumed and then I lysoled, so I got rid of all the bacteria. I wiped everything down so I could get it as clean as possible. I made sure to really wipe it down. So I set this up as a BIOACTIVE enclosure, and I don't think this is gonna be cleaned up like this ever again, or at least in a very long time, because it's gonna have its own cleaning up crew with isopods and springtails. So after I made sure to cover all the previous cracks with silicone, and after that I took out Donatella from her temporary enclosure so she can get to start to know me a little bit faster. To go to Home Depot to buy the stuff I needed to build the terrarium. I bought some volcanic rocks, some plants, some silicone, some tubes, some flowers, some other plants. I tested my filter. I invented a mechanism. It didn't really work that well, but I had to test it anyways. I added a glass in the middle to divide basically the water from the substrate, and then I started to place my different woods that I got actually on the woods while I was mountain biking, and secured them with expanding foam. After I secured them with expanding foam, it was time to start craving. I did it pretty fast. I did my best as possible. It was basically my first time trying to attempt, the fake rock, and it became, a pretty decent result to be my first time. There's a lot of things I think I could have improved. For example, I mixed the concrete with the paint, and I think it would have been a little bit better if I would have maybe added the concrete, let it dry, and then add the final touches on with paint. I basically covered everything with that mixture, and after that I started to add a little bit of detail with some darker paint, just to add a little bit of extra shadows. It wasn't like a huge difference, but it helped a little bit. And with everything blended together, it made a pretty big difference, as you can see. Of course, I treated the water. I started looking on my old BIOACTIVE terrarium, which has been active for like 5 years, and they have a lot of life in there. There's worms, isopods, springtails. Basically I grabbed some soil and started, placing it all over the terrarium, added some water, and little by little the life started to come out. You can see the springtails, you can see the different organisms in there. Everything was going very well. I just needed to deal with the cover. The guy that gave me the snake didn't have a cover at all. He just used some glass and some weights. So I decided to build one. It was kind of a pain in the ass because at Home Depot they didn't have like straight wood. It was kind of straight, and I didn't realize it was gonna be such a pain. But once I started, putting it together, I realized it wasn't like fitting perfectly. But I made it work. Outside you can see the extra glass. At the top is actually the glass that the guy who gave me the snake had, and it was a glass that it was free. And it was kind of like a cool coincidence because it was like perfectly matched with the height I was looking for. Doing this type of cover gave a couple of advantages. You could see through it with the glass. You have like kind of like an entrance by sliding the glass, and also the snake got a little bit more space at the top. The fishes, I wanted the snake to have a little bit more visual distractions, just so she's not like on the same boring enclosure all her life. And yeah, that's kind of the idea. You can see here Donatella just chilling at the back of her enclosure. The idea of that hole is actually to give her some privacy. You can see I also kind of covered it with some plants so she can hide and come out whenever she's hungry, and it's also a good sign for me to feed, even though I'm trying to feed every other week. I added some minnows, which was really cool because they had some toads. Mexico, they sell like live food for bigger fish, including like I said, minnows, and sometimes they have like different fish. So I got a bag of like 20 minnows for $1 maybe, and the guy was like, I saw tadpoles. I was like, are those tadpoles? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, awesome. And they're growing at this point. They're almost frogs, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm assuming the snake won't be interested, at least for a very long time, because they're so small. It's not really like an interesting meal for her. And I also added some snails, so the snake had the water had an additional filtering or cleaning. And yeah, basically this is the result of a week of hard work. I made something kind of similar before. Also, as you can see, there's like a little cave at the back, and the idea is like if the fish ever get kind of like threatened, they can go back into their cave just like that. So that's kind of cool. Did he just eat? I mean, no, I didn't realize that. I'm gonna have to watch that again. Yeah, the fish definitely ate the other fish. I just realized this while watching the footage and doing the voiceover. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but like I said, these minnows are sold kind of like as food and as live food. So, nature stuff happens. And what I think is really cool is that you get to see some minnows grow and survive, which may actually be a different species, but in a way it's like survival of the fittest, because only the strongest survive. So yeah, if you like the footage and the process, please subscribe. It will help out a lot. Thank you.